We're back for the season finale. Last episode of the year. Well, last scheduled episode of the year. We might have some interviews here and there. I know people want to hear from a lot of different people. Before we get into that, though, I am Cody Kelly, joined with my co-host, Scott Brown.
Season number 1. Looks like we're under the wraps, and it's been really fun, and hopefully we get to add to it and do some more next year.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we can make a season 2, if we can keep building and go through football season, fall sports, all of winter. Let's jump out of Riverbend to start. Their seasons are all wrapped up. Hopefully all those athletes are preparing for the next season.
Yeah, and nice to get these kids into camps. I know we trying to push it, and even down in the elementary and the pie school, we're trying to get these kids into summer camps so they can continue to work on their skills and find themselves better next season on their teams.
Yeah, some of them will make the transition to high school. We'll still hear some names next year if there is, like I said, a season 2. Up to 425 Indian Warpath Drive for the last time this year. Baseball lost to Chaminade 5-3 in the first round of districts on Monday, finishing their year at 18-3 with a conference title. Pretty successful year for the varsity. JV was also 11-4 on the season with a conference title. Another successful year there. That was after kind of a slow, sluggish start to the season. And freshman 2-2 on the season. A lot of rain.
I think overall, I know the varsity accomplished a lot of goals. We'd have liked to play that Salem tournament. But when we saw the districts come out, we knew it was an uphill battle. And talking to the coach at Vianney after we played them, and he was talking about our districts, he says, hey, there's one guy you don't want to face in that district. And, of course, the way the seeds came out, we faced him. And I thought we did a decent job against him, 8 hits and 3 runs. And we really did well for ourselves on the offensive end, just needed a few more things to go right on defense.
Yeah, and the varsity level, they'll be bringing back pretty much everybody. Lost Carter Myers behind the dish and Dylan Mooney. That was it for that team.
I would think it's reload, and let's go again, and let's beef up the schedule a bit, and let's see if we can get a few more games in. Mother Nature would be nice if you'd cooperate next season.
And speaking of reload, this is another program that's going to be just doing the exact same. Girls soccer. They beat Washington in a thriller, their first round of districts, 2-1. Ryan Murphy had the first goal, and then Abby Hall had the game winner late in that game against Washington, and that saw them move on to play the 1 seed, the Union Wildcats, who they've had some tough battles with this year, tight ball game. Just haven't seemed to be able to get over that hump, and unfortunately, Union ended their season with a 3-1 win over the Indians. Lexi Clark with the goal there. But
I would think we could just call kryptonite when we face Union. They kind of been our kryptonite. I don't know when the last time a conference team's beat them. They've been on a run, and maybe next year we can get them, but they seem to be that hurdle that we can't clear, even with an outstanding season.
Yeah, it's 14-7-1 on the year for the girls soccer team. Very good year, and like I said, they're going to bring back a lot. I think they graduate too. So they're going to reload and be right back at it next year.
And they're going to need to. So keeping that schedule tough and trying to knock off the top of the mountain, the Union Wildcats, is going to be difficult, but hopefully we can get it done.
Kind of a side thing before we jump into track. It's kind of nice to have the Union Pacific rivalry in multiple sports again, where it's the top 2 for the conference. You have soccer, you have baseball, there's others.
Football was hopefully going to be a good one this year. I know they got us a couple times.
Yeah, it's nice that the closest team to you is back to that level, being a rivalry. Because, it used to be Sullivan for years in a lot of sports, and now it's sort of shifting back to Union, I feel like. Moving on to track. Track had a handful move on to sectionals. They ran in districts last Saturday. Vinny Hoffman qualified 3rd in the 400, so he will run this week at sectionals. Lexi Lay, 3-event district champion, the 100-meter hurdles, 300-meter hurdles, and long jump, and 2nd in shot put, so she qualified for all 4 of those events at the sectional. Molly Pritchard is your district champion in shot put, and Aaliyah Haddix, 4th in the 100-yard or the 100-meter to qualify.
I know, talking to Coach Hillhouse with Vinny's time, we had one of the tougher 400 matchups in the state for districts. I think Vinny can possibly qualify again for the 400 in state again if he runs another time exactly like that one or a little better. But, looking for Lexi to make it to the state tournament, and Molly, hopefully her district championship shot put throw will hold up in sectionals as well. So awesome district for those young individuals.
And like I said, with this being our season finale, you can check our Twitter for updates. I will post updates on what happens at sectionals and hopefully state.
And they're down at Waynesville, I believe, this weekend for sectional.
Before we wrap up on the sports side, we had another activity, though. Band took a trip to Virginia Beach this week. I know it's kind of their annual trip, sort of sneaks up on us at the end of the year all the time.
Took a couple big charter buses down, lots of kids, lots of parents went, and had a couple interesting stories I heard from the kids about the air conditioning on the bus. And, you know, there's always, when you travel across the country with a large group, there's always going to be something interesting happen. But they were really successful out there.
Yeah, you don't want to have a boring trip where nothing happens. I mean, I would like to have the air conditioning, but at least it gives you something to talk about years from now. They did have a really good weekend. The Wind Ensemble, second place in Class 1. Concert Band was first place in Class 2. Jazz Ensemble, second place in the jazz category. Jazz Band, third place in the jazz category. And Percussion Ensemble, first place in percussion category.
Brought home hardware, and that's what they went out there for, besides to have a good time, is to bring back some hardware. And congrats to the band and their leadership and all the parents that support that very successful program in our school.
Yep, congratulations to them. Like you said, it's fun as a student athlete or, you know, activities, any of the speech team, we talk about all of them. It's fun to go somewhere and have a little bit of fun, but it's always fun to come home with some hardware. So congratulations again to the band. This week, we got a little something different. This is about normally whenever we would set up performance of the week, but we're going a little crazy. We will have our first annual TP Awards. We will give out awards such as Chatter Athlete of the Year, Assistant Coach of the Year, Program of the Year. We'll even come up with some other random ones you're probably not thinking of. So stay tuned after the break. We'll be right back with our awards show. Welcome to the first annual TP Awards, hopefully not the only. I am, again, your host, Cody Kelly, joined with my co-host, Scott Brown.
Back again. Here we go.
All right. So did you write the 10-minute comedy segment at the start of the award show like they always have?
Well, I don't want to offend anybody. I'm afraid that, you know, comedy shows right now are a little taboo. Sometimes you can get yourselves in trouble. So
we can always make fun of Coach Missy and Coach Hillhouse like we do out here at Riverbend most of the time.
Well, that's what we do at work. So we have to find something different.
All right. Well, let's just jump in. We got a few different awards to pass out today. There's some that are a little different. We're trying to come up with something a little more fun. Some are going to be kind of no-brainers, people are going to think whenever we read them off. Like our first one of the year. Our first award that we are giving out is Athletic Director / Admin of the Year. We did open it up a little more than just the Athletic Director. I think we were unanimous on this one, though. We were going with first TP Award recipient is Mr. Blair Thompson.
Yep. That's a softball right there. We got to go with the man. He's the one that kind of set us up with the equipment. I know he's a busy dude, but he does a great job following all of our athletics, organizing everything. He and his shout out to his secretary, Lauren. They do a great job in the athletic office. But, yeah, we got to go with Blair.
Yep, Blair, friend of the program, obviously getting us the equipment, giving us the kind of the okay to do this, and also being a guest one time on the show. It was a very fun interview with him, a little different background.
The next award, we're going to have to go and have this one given out to the Athletic Trainer of the Year. And we do see quite a few athletic trainers throughout the year at the events, but we have a special one right here at PHS, and she's probably the best.
Yeah, so that's going to go to Sarah.
Sarah Henchen.
Yeah, Sarah's going to win this award going away. It's not even close.
Yeah, she's at everything. She's everywhere. That's the word we call out when we have an issue and an injury, and it doesn't take her long to arrive to the scene.
And if it was close, which it wasn't, it would have been completely sewn up the other night when we hosted districts and we had another team ask to use our field. And all we are essentially is just the field in that spot. We're not really part of the thing at all, but they asked if Sarah could stay, and she stayed, no problem. You know, so that's just another thing you see out of her.
I'm not a big superhero guy, but which superhero, when there's a problem just always shows up to the scene immediately. Is that Spider-Man? Is that Superman? What?
Yeah, you could say she's Spider-Man, kind of with the spider sense that she just sort of knows when something maybe is going to go down, or I could go with the Flash because she is usually there ASAP.
Quickly, yeah.
If it's a phone call and it's Sarah, and I only have to finish talking and she's already on her way.
Yeah, she is a Marvel superhero, so thank you, Sarah, for your work this year.
Then we go to the PA of the year. Now, there are actually some choices here because some other people do it, but we do know kind of who the leading candidate is. We call him the voice of the Indians. So you were unanimous, I think, here with Mr. Larry Carter.
Larry Dean Carter. Yeah, we've got to go with Larry Dean. And there's some good ones out there. I know Craig Vandehar does it at Washington. I know Bruce Penites does it at Owensville. But we've got a legend.
I do the JV football games here at Pacific.
That's not who I was talking about.
Girls basketball game. I did one this year.
Sorry.
Working my way up there.
No, we're going to go with Larry Dean Carter, the PA announcer of the year. Pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen. That is my
that is how you start every Pacific sporting event.
That's Mr. Carter himself. Football, basketball, and baseball he did for us. He is the man.
On our list, I'm going to hop over this one for now. I like to save it to a little later. I want to get into this one though. Official of the year. I know some officials take beatings throughout the years as far as from coaches and fans and players.
We were rougher during basketball, I think, on the basketball officials.
Yeah, I guess the chatter guys have had some unique takes on officials too, time to time. But our official of the year is Keith Wright. I think we're good on that one. Unanimous there.
One of the funniest gentlemen to be around I've ever known in my life on the golf course, just hanging out when he's on the basketball court. One of the great dudes. And, obviously he's Andrew's dad, so we know him. He also played basketball for my dad back in 1982 to date Keith a little bit.
So it's nice to give out to a PHS alum.
Yes, obvious choice, Keith Wright. Feel better, Keith. We're thinking about you right now. You get the Official of the Year award.
Yep. We'll get that award mailed out to you. I wouldn't hold your breath though on receiving it anytime soon. This one was fun. Scoreboard/clock operator of the year. This is an unsung part of the sports because those are either volunteers or
now they're getting paid.
They get paid a little, but it's still not really worth the time and having to deal with people yelling at you if you mess it up and all that kind of stuff. Still,
well, my interesting story on this one is I got in a little bit of trouble during basketball season as my tenure as a scoreboard clock operator. So it kind of took me out of the running from my incident with basketball.
Anytime the scoreboard operator almost gets a technical foul, you're going to probably hurt yourself as far as winning this award.
And the guy that won it was sitting right next to me when it happened, and he was maybe in as much shock as I was when it happened. But we're going to go with
Mr. Gary Daves.
Gary Daves, the scoreboard clock operator of the year, middle school football coach.
I would say overall he has to do the most as far as clock operation and scoreboards.
Yep, friend of many programs. He enjoys watching high school sports. He's out there watching the kids. He's always got a positive or maybe a suggestion to make, usually after the game, even for baseball. But appreciate Gary hooking us up this year and being there and being reliable. Thanks, Coach Daves.
And then we move towards our Special Fan of the Year award. There's several. We have some Riverbend listeners, some high school listeners, and just some community listeners. I think we actually might be split on this one, so I'll let you give out yours.
Yeah, well, this is a little Riverbend guy who has listened to our podcast several times, and he'll be happy to get a shout-out. Quinn Jones from Riverbend, a student, and he's my Special Fan of the Year.
As far as mine goes, it's tough because I've got a lot of different people. We average quite a few listeners, actually, for this show. Some people would be surprised at the number we do pull in. So there's a lot of different options out there. I do know one person that's listened to every episode, so I got to lean towards him. I also get critiques from him about the episode, about how I did.
He won't hold back.
Nope. And I'll give that one to Benton Kelly, because he's been the one that critiques it. He's kind of come up with a couple of our catchphrases and the things that we do use on this show, so I have to give him credit for that.
Old Benny.
Yeah, he's been involved, so I will give it to him.
That's a good pick, Old Benny. The next award I came up with because this guy is another legend. He's on his way out at the high school. He's finishing up his term. I think at the end of this month, he's going to officially retire. And he's one of the best characters and personalities you'll find at the high school. And you'll find him there sometimes 6-7 days a week. But this is for support staff, our custodian of the year. And as a first-year teacher, I was always told, be nice and be very respectful to the custodians in your building and the cooks because they take care of you. Well, this guy takes care of us all the time. He's also not scared to sit in on a team meal.
Yeah, he doesn't miss many of those.
If there's food in the building, this guy knows it. He finds it, and he might go about $1.15, but he can eat his weight in food after school if he has the football team or the basketball or the soccer teams are eating after school. This guy will find it, and he is very appreciative. But we are appreciative of this guy. I knew him when I was younger. I was friends with his son Brian growing up, and we're going to miss this guy. And our sports staff custodian of the year is Mr. Bobby Hardcastle.
Yeah, that one is a unanimous pick. Every coach will tell you the same thing, that he takes care of us. He makes sure that we're good after games at home. He's usually there whenever we get back from long nights, and he wants to know how we did. He is always in on the sports side of things, so he does a great job. He will be missed.
And there's some other good ones around the district as well. But this guy's going out. I think it was time to recognize him on the podcast.
And then as we move to a little different too, the bus driver of the year, another thing that's forgotten very often in sports. Without bus drivers, we don't play a majority of our games.
And I've been on a lot of buses.
Yeah, you have to probably have the record for most bus trips.
Most bus rides in Pacific High School history. After school, I think I'm there. And I've had a lot of great bus drivers, Adair, Teresa, just to name a few over the years that are still with the district. But I'll let you introduce this guy who's a big baseball fan as well for Bus Driver of the Year.
Yeah, this one I've known for quite a while, most of my life, I would say. So his son played with me back in the day on some baseball. We're going to give the Bus Driver of the Year this year to Mr. Peak. Jim Peak is going to be our Bus Driver of the Year.
Good selection.
Yeah, he takes care of it. I know as far as the baseball side, he loves baseball, so he takes as many trips as he can with us, and he'll sit in the stands, and on the way back, he'll talk the whole game with certain plays and stuff, which is always kind of nice. So that's my bus driver, or our bus driver of the year.
And he gets his places on time.
We're usually early. He's ready to roll.
He's not driving slow. He's getting us to the place we need to get to. But thanks, Mr. Peak, for your service.
I want to circle back now here. Now we start to move into a little more, kind of sports-related awards. Riverbend Athletes of the Year. Me and you both have one. Would you like to start it off, or you want me to start it off?
Yeah, I'm going to take the 8th grader for my Riverbend Athlete of the Year. She's a trackster. She's a good soccer player. I know that's not a school sport. One of Coach Missy's best performers this year, and she dominated track meets, kind of like Lexi Lays dominated some of the high school track meets this year. But Ariana Edmonds is my Riverbend Athlete of the Year. Congratulations, Ariana.
Yeah, that's well-deserved. On the boys' side of things, I'll take Gage Clark. He kind of was the leader of that 8th grade team that went undefeated this year. Tall, long, great athlete. Was a part of possibly one of the moments of the year. We'll see later on when we get to it.
Very good student.
Very good student. Yeah, he, like I said, one of the leaders of that team. And one of the first times they've gone undefeated. It's only happened a handful of times in school history. So I'm going to go with Gage Clark as my Athlete of the Year at Riverbend.
Good selection.
Now we're going to move around a little bit here to something a little different. First year Coach of the Year. I don't know if
we had a couple this year.
Yeah, we have a couple first years. Most of these awards are going to be given out to people that did participate while we had a show, but we will reach back and kind of go off of some stuff from the fall just to not leave everybody out. Who did you have for your first year Coach of the Year?
Well, I think we're just going to go ahead and share this one since she's a coworker of mine, and we spend a lot of time in the gym together here at Riverbend. But I know you're going to pick this one too. She wears her heart on her sleeve. She's passionate. She's organized, as I can tell you as a coworker. She's one of the most organized coworkers I've ever had. And she did a great job this year in helping turn this program in the right direction. And it's not easy rebuilding programs, but she's in the midst of it. And I'm going to go with Melanie Missy.
Yeah, and I'll agree with you, mainly because I think she already wrote the acceptance speech. She's been wanting to get back on since the first interview and try to improve on that. So I'll go with Melanie Missy, too. That was the first-year Coach of the Year. A little different. Another one that you don't hear much of, the Assistant of the Year. And I'm sure a lot of people aren't going to be surprised with our pick here. I'm thinking we share this one unless you went somewhere else.
No, I'm going to stay on this one, too, as another.
The other option we had was to pick each other.
Yeah,
that came close, but.
Yeah, we would have got voted out on that one.
Assistant of the Year, I'll let you say it.
Coach Hart Hillhouse is the assistant basketball coach, one of the assistant basketball coaches. Sorry, Coach King. But he coaches basketball, and he also jumped into track head first this year.
Kind of late notice, too. They needed somebody who jumped in, and that's one way to win the Assistant of the Year is to just hop in and help when you can.
And he did, and his wife, Brittany, I'm sure, would have rather had him home, but they made it work, and I know the kids love him. He's a workout warrior. The guy loves track and field. He was a great one himself. He loves being active, and he was a perfect choice, but this guy puts in a lot of time and needs to be appreciated.
Yeah, and as we move on, we'll have Program of the Year. And this was one I thought some people might think it's biased. So we did have a panel somewhat put together to vote on this to help us out.
And I'm going to let you pick one, and then I'll pick one after.
Oh, yeah, we got our own podcast host version, too.
Right.
Program of the Year, handpicked by the panelists, goes to baseball this year.
Big year for the Indians, conference title. I like that pick, but I'm going to go with I'm going another direction.
Yeah, I think we agree on this one.
And we didn't cover the fall season.
Nope.
But they had an epic historical season led by Coach Joe Braymeyer. Coach Joe Braymeyer led the volleyball program to its first district title
since towards
the mid-'90s.
Yeah, that state run a little bit in there.
So congrats to the volleyball Lady Indians.
Now as we move to play/moment of the year, for me, it's one that we did a voiceover of, had the video on the Pacific Indians Athletics YouTube page. There was a couple to choose from. I'm going to go with the 8th grade buzzer beater for the title and to stay undefeated to finish their season. Legit buzzer beater, left the hand right at like .2 in the hoop. Indians win.
You'll find that on the YouTube channel, correct?
Yep, that was where I did a voiceover for it. So if you want to check that out, you can see that play happen.
I'm going to go with the fall season again, even though we didn't cover it. It's just a big moment since they hadn't won a district title since the mid-'90s. I'm going to take the volleyball district championship game at Union to get us to the sectionals as my big play moment of the year.
Yeah, congratulations to both coaches on that, Coach Danny Missy and Coach Braymeyer. Moving to Chatter Athlete of the Year, I'm going to let you go first because I think I'm going to go a little controversial.
Well, this guy got it done all basketball season. He got on the mound for us, and we jumped on his back during baseball season. He's only a junior. I think you'll hear his name again next year. And I'm going to pick my Chatter Athlete of the Year as Jack Meyer, the junior baseball player for the Indians.
For Conference Player of the Year on that side of things. For me, I checked with the producers to see if I could do this, and since I'm the producer, I let myself do it. We have Chatter Athletes of the Year on the girls' side of things.
Wow, two.
Yes. I'm going with Abby Hall, who had a great basketball season, one of the more active players for the Indians there. Soccer leading the team in goals. She's been Performance of the Week a couple times.
And on the hot seat.
And then I'm going to go with, on the other co-athlete of the year, Lexi Lay for the track. With her performance at districts, 3 district titles, a second place, and hopefully some medals coming from her at state. She's been just unreal all year. Nobody could really compete with her in all the meets they've been at.
Yeah, Lexi's dominant. I think you have 2 good selections there. And there were some more girls that were capable of being on there, but those are 2 perfect choices.
It's tough when you're just taking the athlete of the year. You're just going with 1 or 2 people. Like I went 2 because I couldn't decide.
So maybe next year we'll add a couple more to this if anybody has any great ideas. But those are some really excellent TP awards.
Yep, and as this closes our awards show and closes our season out, I'm hoping this isn't the last time you're going to hear me say this, but until next time, keep up the chatter.